Here we have a very simple record player amplifier by the Dansette Viva popular brand, and it's a very simple 2-valve job, and it's a UL84 pentode valve, single-ended, with a UY85 half-wave rectifier. In a previous video of this one, I actually mentioned it was an AC-DC type amplifier. That was incorrect. It's an AC type only. Here's Phil Moss. He's going to take you through the circuit diagram.
Right, this is a very simple amplifier. It's an AC only amplifier, and the difference between this and the previous is the use of the motor. This motor is also an auto transformer. Now if you take the drawing literally, this here means it's a variable point and you can slide it up and down. Well, of course you can't. That should actually just be a blob, but we'll let them off with that. So the mains comes in, they have got to the stage of using a double pulse, which I'm glad to say, but there's no earth on this. So the full HT is applied via this resistor, 175 ohms, to the anode of the rectifier, which is half wave, a UY85, so it has a high voltage 100 milliamp heater. The UL84 has a similar voltage and again 100 milliamp heater. They're wired in series. The big thing is that for the small expense of putting a tap on the motor's field winding, one gets rid of the dropper resistor and all that wasted power converted to heat in the unit. So it is rather more civilized than the previous versions, which use the resistive dropper. To point out another small error they've made, that means milli, not micro, so they're showing this as 32,000 microfarads instead of 32. That should be a mu sign, as should that, as should that. A certain case of laziness of calling up the Greek letters. But anyway, so we've got 32 microfarads as a reservoir capacitor. We have smoothing for the screen grid only, and the 16 microfarad there. Between those two, the high value of resistor and capacitor, very smooth supply at the screen grid. The anode will have a fair amount of ripple. Nothing to comment on. Output transformer, speaker. They've got the pentode compensation capacitor, but it's on the large side at 0.05 microfarads in series with a variable resistor of 25k. So somewhere along the value of that resistor, you get a flat response where the combination of the reactance of that and the resistance of this compensates for the intrinsic treble boost of the pentode into the output transformer. If you turn it up so the resistance is less, you get treble cut. If you turn it down so it is more, then you get treble boost, because that capacitor basically then does nothing. The input circuit, well, it's simply the volume control doubles up as the grid leak for the input valve, and as I keep on saying when dealing with this kind of amplifier, the problem of having it on the input is that any scratchiness in the pot is amplified by the valve, whereas in a multi-valve amplifier with the volume control somewhere along the line, you have a higher voltage. This is for a crystal pickup. All that's left is the bias resistor and the bypass capacitor of 25 microfarads. If you were replacing that, the nearest you can get is 22, which is more than adequate. It doesn't make a lot of difference. Some amplifiers, for cheapness, they don't even have it, as I pointed out in some previous amplifiers. You're not supposed to do that. It increases the output impedance and reduces the gain, but it does introduce negative feedback and will reduce the distortion by the same proportion as it reduces the gain. But they've decoupled it. They're showing that goes to chassis. Well, it's built on a metal chassis, and that really is all there is to this. It is, as I said, a very simple amplifier, and the only real thing to point out was that the use of the motor as an auto transformer also to save all that wasted heat.
If you found this tutorial very useful and would like to see more, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Patreon, Facebook and Twitter accounts. So far to date we have covered dozens of vintage valve amplifiers and equipment, starting with basic items such as Dansette, Bush and Philips record players. We've also covered the Mullard 3.3 and the 510 valve amplifiers, the mic amp and mixer circuit based around the UY86, the Hacker and Dynatron record players, Leak TL10, quad valve amplifiers, GEC MOV division, Radford, Pi, Dynaco Stereo 70 and many other British and foreign audio circuits. We are in the process of shooting lots more videos on a regular basis and we will be uploading often. We cover hi-fi, musicians and recording studio equipment as well as vintage radio circuits. Please go to the website for more details.